As women, we juggle different roles in life. Wife, mother, employee, and daughter. At some point, we have all been told, directly or indirectly, that we shouldn't pursue something, to play it safe, not be too loud, or too much, or too beautiful, or not beautiful enough. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, or that you can't do something. Surround yourself with women who want you to rise, who celebrate your success, who believe in your dreams. Together, let's help each other to rise. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. Divine woman, you deserve to rise. I am Cinti, and I am a woman's woman.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us today on this very exciting live where we're going to speak with Jacinta Gabrielle, and we're going to talk about her gorgeous work and her healing journey. So I just want to let you all know that for those of you that normally join us on these lives, you know the drill. We've got a beautiful competition where you can win a sacred healing session with Jacinta, and we also have news about her upcoming launch. So I'm so excited to have you all with us, and I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Jacinta, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Cinti. How are you?
Yeah, really good. It's so good to see you. So thank you so much for joining me today, and it's just been such a beautiful journey that we've all taken together with you and the team, and branding you and getting your beautiful work out there. So for everyone that's joining us and doesn't know about your work, do you want to talk a little bit about you being the goddess of alchemy and the work that you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so goddess of alchemy, that's definitely, I feel like my journey's been of alchemy, like really transforming my pain into power on my journey. And so that's why then I wanted to really empower women.
Okay, and so when we talk about transforming your pain into your power, talk to me a little bit about your journey and I guess sort of the pain that you've been through and how you've then evolved that into now your sort of most powerful teaching.
Yes, that's right. So I have been on the journey. So I discovered forensic healing years ago, and that was at a time in my life when I was really feeling very disconnected and disempowered as well, and I felt trapped in my situation. And so then I had to, do the healing work.
And do you mind me asking you about the situation that you were trapped in and where you were at that point?
No, that's fine. Yeah. So I was in a emotionally and also energetically toxic relationship. And so I really felt trapped and like there was no way out. So.
And I think a lot of us as women can relate to that, right? Like women have been persecuted, and there's been lots of sort of very uncool stuff happen to us over the centuries. And I think that this point in time, we're starting to become more empowered than ever. But it really is, I think it's something that a lot of women can relate to. I mean, myself, I've been in toxic relationships, narcissistic relationships, and it can happen in your friendships as well as your relationships, right? Like for you, it was, what kind of relationship were you in when you experienced this?
That was with my husband at the time. So yeah.
And do you mind talking to us a little bit about what kind of stuff was going on, like, for you, and how that was showing up for you, that trauma in that situation?
Yeah, that's fine. So he was very controlling and very domineering. And so, like I've talked about in my live videos too, that I've been doing the last few weeks about gaslighting. So often you're not aware that you're being gaslighted, but when I look now, even if it's not things like making strange noises, but it happens on a more subtle level, like that psychological manipulation.
So what do you mean by making strange noises? What talk to me about that?
Oh, like I was saying in the live video, saying that, you know, sometimes it's almost like that you question your reality, like they make you think that you're crazy in some ways. So that was one example. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's some people that might be joining us that didn't actually get to sort of catch the live about gaslighting. So I think it's an important thing to touch on, because a lot of the time, well, all the time, you don't really know that you're being gaslit at the time, do you? You do feel like you're going crazy, because they're kind of creating this alternate reality where it's like they're doing this stuff, and then you go, hey, I don't like the way you're making me feel. And then they go, oh, what do you mean? I'm not doing anything. What's wrong with you? You know, you're being a bit crazy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Definitely. Yeah.
So talk to me about your experience of that, like how that kind of showed up for you, I guess.
Yeah, well, that was, like I said, because, you know, it was a controlling and domineering, and I lost my sense of self. So like I was talking about with gaslighting, I really did go through that, like lost my sense of self, and then you become insecure as well, and obviously erodes your self-worth. So
yeah, absolutely, because then you start to double guess every single thing that you're doing, right? Like it's like you'll go to say something. I mean, I know when I sort of was in the height of a very toxic narcissistic relationship, and for me it was like it made me question everything. Like I couldn't speak without going, oh, is that right? Oh, I don't know. Like it's like it bends your reality, and then you don't have any kind of solid footing, right?
Yeah, that's right. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously you went through this, and so how long did you go through this for?
I was in the marriage for 12 years. So obviously it starts off, like I think I was saying in one of those videos, like start off where they lure you with their charm, like charming, but then, you know, then you start to see the true colors later on. So that's really what happened with me. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's, again, everyone that's been in a narcissistic relationship can relate, because narcissists are really good at drawing us in and being like, oh, you're so beautiful. And they sort of draw you in with all of this stuff because it's serving them to have you under their spell, under their control. And then it sort of takes this dark shift, right?
Yes, that's right. Definitely. Yeah.
So when you met your husband, like talk to me about, I guess, what he was like when you first met him.
Oh, when I first met him. Yeah, like I said, it all seemed like I felt a connection, you know, like when you feel that connection, and obviously it's some past life, like some past life connection in some way. Yeah. But then, as I said, over time, it just became more and more controlling and domineering. Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of things were happening? What was showing up for you when that was happening? What can you give me an example of something, like, you know, one of the situations that happened that sort of stands out in your mind?
Oh, okay. I think it was one where, I think we've spoken about this before, but where I was just at night, just on the computer, and just you know, really, reading positive quotes or just positive blogs, and then I remember he came into the room, and he just had like rage in his eyes, and he just like pulled out the cord of the computer, and then almost like took it away, like banning me from using it. That's just one incident, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's how it shows up, right? Because it's like, you know, you're there experiencing joy, and you kind of almost, it's like energetically they pick up on the fact that you're starting to build yourself up and get your self-esteem, and they're like, oh no, I can't have you doing that, because if you do that, then I'm not going to be able to control you. So then that control mechanism into overdrive, right?
Yeah, definitely, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, so then talk to me about how you came out of this, Jacinta, because it's quite a remarkable journey of you, you know, being in that at that point. And, you know, I remember when we first met, And remember, it was like, so I don't know if you mind me sharing this part of your story, but when you were under the psychic attack from your husband, because he did psychically attack you, right?
Yes.
And when we first met, it was like, I could feel that disconnection of your spirit, you know. I could feel where, even though you'd done all this healing work and you were working in that field, but it's like you had hidden your spirit up in the ether so he couldn't find you, which when we started to unfold and talk about your journey, it was just like, even now it makes me feel like crying, because seeing you there where it was like it's almost like you weren't in your body, right? It's like you were there operating, but you were on autopilot. And then little by little, it's like now it's like you've come more and more into yourself. And I think the journey of that, and just you sort of committing to healing yourself. Can you talk to us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, definitely. That's so true. And I'm happy for you to share that. So it's true. Like, I did feel disconnected.
Yeah.
Like in my physical body. And so it has been, so it has been a journey to feel more and more connected, like fragment by fragment and piece by piece, just putting together all the pieces again. So it's like I disconnected to survive, because it was energetic, really, on that energetic level, the abuse.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put into words, but because it's invisible, like it can't be seen, but then it goes really deep into the soul. And so then I feel very grateful, because I know it was divinely orchestrated for me to just earth angels that were placed on my path at the time. That includes Ayurveda, because Ayurveda, which is the ancient healing system of India, it's over 5,000 years old. That was a saving grace in my life. And also forensic healing. So that's when I went on that journey, because what happened with the energetic abuse is it really shot my digestive system and my nervous system to pieces. And so I had to really rebuild.
Okay. And so talk to us about that, like the effects, because I think, you know, a lot of people understand, and especially when the emotional effects, you know, of when you're abused, when you go through trauma. But I think that what a lot of people don't realize is the physical toll that it can take on your body, right?
Yes, definitely.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about that, that part of it, where like the physical things that started showing up for you?
Yeah, definitely. So because I am highly sensitive to energy, and so when it happened, like the energetic abuse, and you know, and I was feeling that, it really did affect my physical body and my digestion. Like I really couldn't eat for it was about 6 months actually, until I rebuilt my system. And I lost a lot of weight, even though I'm already very slim. So yeah.
And so because you're also a naturopath as well, right?
Yes, that's right.
So was that part of the journey, as you sort of becoming a naturopath, to go on that nutritional kind of, get the nutritional support you needed to rebuild your digestive system?
Yeah, I was already a naturopath at that stage. So I'd studied as a naturopath, and then this all happened after that. So yeah, but definitely I've got that passion for natural therapies. Yeah.
Absolutely, right. And so then talk to me a little bit about because I know you've been on the journey of forensic healing. So talk about forensic healing to us, because it sounds really interesting. It kind of sounds like it's detective work, but what actually is forensic healing for those that aren't as well versed in
yeah, that's right. It does sound like that. So it's like you're a detective, and you're putting together all the pieces of the puzzle to get to the main, like the root cause of a block or a situation in life, because everything is contained in our energy field. And so we read the energy field to find all the pieces, like put all the pieces together and combine science and intuition. So you're right, it is like, that's the science part. And yeah, it's very comprehensive too. It works on different levels. So
And so, like, if I was coming to you and I was going through trauma and I was like, I was sort of in a state where I'm just like, look, I just keep seeing the same things repeating. Because the thing is, I think what a lot of people don't realize as well about trauma and about pain and about all of this stuff that we go through is a lot of the time it's in our field. So it's like you attract more of what's in your field. So you get this repeating. It's like you might break up with the guy that was physically abusive, and then you end up with this guy that's emotionally abusive, but they're two completely different people. And you think, wow, I thought I was going for someone completely different this time, but here I am with exactly the same, like I'm in the same situation. I'm going through the same, abuse cycle. How did I end up here,
Yeah, definitely. That's so true. That's really well said. Like it's like you repeat that pattern because that's what is embedded. Like that trauma is still there, and then yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so what's actually making that pattern repeating? Like, how does that happen? Because I know that sort of like, I guess, the full journey of this. So how does that actually happen?
With the why the patterns get repeated?
Yeah, like why does that happen?
Yeah.
What's the reason for it?
Yeah, so it's based on like what's embedded there. So if there's, as an example, like if there's trauma, it's like things keep getting repeated, and whatever is in your cells and in the energy field, it's like then that will keep continuing until it's resolved. So
and so does it start somewhere? Like, where does it all start?
yeah, well, some people, I mean, for a lot of people, it's in childhood because that's often where we have, our wounding, like childhood wounding. Mm-hmm. But it also goes back further than that. It's also past lives as well. So forensic healing also looks into healing at the deep soul level and also at the DNA level as well. So, yeah.
Right, because there's different levels of healing, right? Like we look at healing as, oh, I'll take a tablet, or I'll go and get some counseling, or I'll go and get some psychotherapy. But actually, our healing and our sort of trauma cycle can go much deeper than that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because we're not just, we're eternal souls. And so what happens is cellular memories, it's like we have cellular memories and soul imprints, and then they carry through into this lifetime. And that's what happened with me. I really feel on that level, like as an archetype, I came in as a victim archetype. And that's why it wasn't just what happened in this lifetime. It was carried through from past life. And it's working through to release that and to change it. Yeah.
And how did you discover all of that? Like, how did you know that you, like, what archetype you were, or that you were a victim archetype? Like, how did you discover all of that?
Yeah, that was actually on my healing journey. That's where I discovered it. And that's why I'm so grateful to the mentors at the time for actually, because when you're, as we were saying too with gaslighting, it's like you're not aware at the time, of what's happening. And so then it's just so you have more clarity as well of what's happening.
Okay. And so what kind of things did you go through to discover? Like, did you know, like, when, for instance, like, what for you, what was that original thing? Like you said, you're a victim archetype. So, are there different archetypes? How many archetypes are there? How do they know? Like, I've got so many questions around this.
Oh, okay. There are a lot of different archetypes, but I know for me, like just personally, the victim was very much a part of mine. And wounded healer, I feel like wounded healer too is very much a part.
So talk to me about the wounded healer. What is that?
Yep. So the wounded healer is where it's like you've been a healer in the past, and then you come in and you've got to really work on a deep level to heal those wounds.
Okay, so you've been so for instance, like, I don't know if I've got this right, but if I was healing women from being physically abused, and then in this lifetime I come back and I'm the physically abused woman, is that to learn the lesson of that? Is that what that is? The wounded healer?
Yeah, definitely that's part of it. That's right. Yes. So, and then, so you're going through your own healing journey and healing those deep wounds. Yeah. So then
Okay.
you, yeah.
No, sorry, you go ahead. I
Oh,
really.
okay. No, that's right. So then you really understand that journey as well.
Yeah. Okay. And so, well, we've just got Terry chiming in and saying hello. So Terry's saying, hey,
Oh,
women, yes, karmic patterns repeat until we learn our lessons and rise. So true, right?
yes.
Goddess. She goes, yes, I relate to the wounded healer. Jesus was known as the wounded healer. Okay. Did you know this as well? Jacinta, that Jesus was known as the wounded healer?
No, but it makes sense though, definitely,
So
Terry.
how?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to us more about how that makes sense. Like, so if we were to talk, because right now we're in Easter, so I think this is a really,
Oh, yeah.
it's a very poignant kind of topic to talk about. So talk to me about Jesus and how he was the wounded healer, if we were to use an example.
Okay. So Jesus, because he was a natural healer, and
Mm-hmm.
so he definitely went through suffering. I mean, his journey, and so then he was a wounded healer, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so, but like if we were to talk to someone who knew nothing about this, like obviously you and I have had some really amazing conversations about this, and just so everyone knows, Jacinta and I, so my actual full name is Jacinta, and Cinti is like, it's like our nickname, right? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of been adopted to be my name. But you and I go back sort of probably karmically as well, I think, because we've had a connection from the very beginning. So
Yeah.
for me, you and I have had lots of opportunities to speak about this kind of stuff. But I think for a lot of people watching, they're going to go, what? Wounded healer? Jesus? How? Like, how? Like, if you were talking to someone who knew nothing about this, how would you explain that?
About well, it's all new to me. As I said, Terry's just brought it up, but it's basically like that would be one example, like Jesus coming in, he comes in with natural healing abilities,
Yeah.
and then he's persecuted for his gifts. That's the way I would look at it, because that's really, I think people were threatened by his light as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that a lot of people of the light can relate to. Me, definitely. I mean, as far as persecution goes, even just for the way I've looked, or the fact that I've been, a nice person on top of being beautiful, it's you would think that people would be like, oh, wow, that's so nice. But a lot of the time it can trigger wounding in others, and then they can kind of want to shut that down or attack you for it. And it's like Terry saying, like women burn at the stake, burn at the cross. We were attacked and persecuted because we were threatening,
Yes, definitely. And that's where I feel like now it's like we're going through a feminine revolution, because
Yep.
it's like we're coming out of that, we've been controlled by the patriarchy, and now we're coming into a full revolution of the divine feminine and the rising of the goddess.
Absolutely. And so light workers like you and myself and Terry, who's joined us, Terry coaches men as well as women, but we are all, a lot of us as women, we're all here to help usher in this new age, right, of the divine feminine. And it's not just about bringing in, it's not, there's divine feminine in both men and women. So it's not saying, oh, well, fuck men, we hate men and everything they stand for. It's more about going, no, we need to, now men are here and we need to rise women so that we can be there and we can restore the balance. And for men, there are a lot of men out there that need to restore their divine feminine balance, right? Because they're so in their masculine. And I think what we're realizing is that masculine paradigm, it doesn't work anymore, And with COVID, it 100% didn't work. Like, look at us all. We had to, most people had to go and work from home or work remotely, which is absolutely the opposite of the masculine paradigm of 9 to 5, turn up to work, grind, do. And so I think that we're starting to all realize that there is a different way to do things, but men can't birth, only women can do that, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's the creative side, like the real power, that Shakti. I think that sometimes where, it's really powerful to meditate on, that we actually, like, we bring forth life. Like, that's really powerful. So
Absolutely. And so when we're talking about birthing a new age and birthing a completely, like, we're in the face of the biggest pandemic of our generation, and everyone's just going, oh shit, what do we do? And it's like, to birth a new age, we need women there to really help to show the way and to get into our creative flow, because that's the beautiful thing about feminine energy, is that it's so creative. So we kind of go way outside the box and we get into our crazy ocean kind of vibes and move like the sea, and start to bring about real change, whereas men really need to put, or the masculine needs to put things in containers. You need those parameters and those containers, and at the moment it's like, well, this container's not working, we need a new container. But then it's like they don't have that creative vision to go, well, what does the new container look like? We don't know. And so we're there to say, well, the new container could look like this, or it could be like that, or there's this option and that. And then the men start to go, oh wow, this is amazing, so many options. Okay, yes, that sounds good, let's put it all over. Like, it's when that masculine and feminine is completely in flow, it's a really beautiful process, right? Because it's like that inspiration, and then it's like putting that inspiration into action.
yeah, definitely, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, Terry, she said, you're both so beautiful inside and out. She said, I'm so grateful to you, your team. Thank you, Terry. We loved working with you, and I think that there's going to be lots more work that we do in the future as well. I mean, doing this work is what it's about, right, Cinti?
Yeah, love you, Terry, too. We love you.
Hey, Jody, how you doing? Yeah, so so talk to me about then, when we talk about all of this, these paradigm shifts and the divine feminine coming in, and then all of this sort of new age and birthing things. Talk to me about how your work is helping to do that, because, like, as women, for us to come and become visible and for us to really start to do our work, one of the biggest things we need to do is heal our trauma, right?
Yes, definitely. That's so true. Yes.
So talk to me about your work. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. I was going to say, like, last year when you're talking about COVID, that really hits home, because I was home a lot of the time last year, and it really gave me that opportunity to go really deep, like to, really reflect on what's important and what my mission is, even though that had been channeled through a number of years before that, but just get crystal clear on it. And so that's, I spent that time doing that. And so then, yeah, that's what happened last year.
So, and so I just want everyone to know as well, like, with Jacinta's work. So, and this is one of the things that we work on, when we're working on launching women and packaging up their work and doing all of this stuff, is that as women, we're not naturally good at promoting ourselves, and we're not naturally good at really talking about how deeply transformational our work can be. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Jacinta's work, she does deeply healing work where she'll actually get to the root cause of your trauma, because what happens is that there can be secret saboteurs kind of working under the surface. So you can be there and go, well, I know I keep having this pattern, or I know that I keep repeating this behavior, or I keep doing this and I want to stop it, but for some reason I can't stop it, like, or here I am in the same situation. What's actually going on underneath that is that there's usually a root cause that you are absolutely unaware of, and you have no idea what it actually is. You understand the outcome of that cause, but discovering why you're doing that can be well, it's actually the path to you healing the trauma. So what Jacinta does with her forensic healing, she also does singing bowls. She's got naturopathy as all of these tools that come under her belt, so that she can actually, one, help you find the root causes of these patterns. So you can sit there and say, well, this keeps happening and that keeps happening. And she will literally go on a forensic healing journey with you, where she takes all of the fragments and all of the things and then pulls them together and goes, right, so this happened when you were 5, and this is why you keep repeating this pattern, because this is what's happened, right? So she finds that root cause. And the thing is, once you're aware of what is driving these patterns, what is driving these behaviors, then you're able to tune into how to actually resolve it and heal it at that deep level. And like she was saying, it's not just it's not just a, like this timeline thing. It can sometimes be karmic. So how are we going to know that 3 lifetimes ago we were burnt at the stake? And so that resulted in us having a massive fear of visibility, which is a lot of the reason why women do have a fear of visibility, right? Because we were burnt at the stake for sharing our magic. So to put that in context, it's like, if you were burnt at the stake, 400 years ago, or whenever all of that happened, then you're going to carry that wounding. And for me, I only know this because I've experienced this myself. We all know showing up and being visible has been something that's been a real journey for me, right? And where it came from is the karmic wounding of me being burnt at the stake for practicing my magic. So instantly, as soon as I appear on camera, I start to share my healing and it's that wounded healer paradigm, right? As soon as I start to share my magic, I'm cut off and I go, oh, and it's like I don't know why, but I lock up and I freeze and I can't share it, right? And I think this happens with you, Jacinta, a lot as well. Like when you're in that zone and you're healing your clients and you're doing that, like your work, your testimonials speak for themselves, how beautiful your work is and how transformed. I mean, when you read Jacinta's testimonials, they are crazy, right? But then you say, hey, Jacinta, talk to me about your work. And she's like, well, because the work kind of speaks for itself. But these visibility issues can come up for us, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's like what I was saying last year. So I really worked through, because I had a lot of fears about being persecuted or ridiculed for actually, showing my true self. And so that's where it's been an incredible journey to really work on that deep inner level with the healing, but also then with visibility. So yeah.
So talk to me about how you feel when you're working with your clients, when you're in that zone and you're working with them.
Oh, I love it. It's a feeling of coming home, like my soul is coming home. It reminds me of when I do meditation, like when I'm meditating or when I connect to nature. It's just that feeling of peace, and yeah, it's really just like in tune, like my soul's in tune, and yeah.
And I think that's a really good indicator when you're on the path of your life's work, like you do get that feeling, that meditative, getting lost in the moment, really loving the work. And it's like it's energizing. It's not draining at all.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. Like when you're following your passion, it's like then it's effortless, isn't it? So
Absolutely, right. And I think that this is a challenge for, like, obviously I've worked with a lot of women and we sort of birth their life's work. And one of the biggest challenges that I find with my clients is, it's like with you, like when you're in the work and you're doing the work, it's like you're in full flight and your wings are fully spread. But when you have to talk about the work or promote the work or do all of that stuff, the stuff that we have to do to get our work out there, that can be the biggest challenge, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like we've talked about with the persecution, I think a lot of women have those wounds, like wounds of being seen and persecution and what people will think as well. So,
and you can help them overcome that, right? Because if we can get to the root cause of that, like with me, when it's like, oh, okay, so I was a witch, I was burned at the stake, right? That makes sense. The minute that we figured that out, it was like, okay, so now the visibility thing was something that I went, oh, I can overcome this because it's not, there's actually nothing wrong with me. This is my core wounds coming in and kind of messing with me, right?
Yeah, that's right, definitely. And so it's working through it, isn't it? And then overcoming it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think working through it, like for me, like working through that sort of stuff, it can be a really long and really hard journey, right? But then when you've got someone like you who is like a way shower and who, you know, this is your life's work, this is what you're here and put on this earth to do. So when you kind of connect with someone like you, then that can be made, number one, a lot shorter, but a lot less painful as well, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Because then you have more awareness, don't you? Like you need to have awareness before then you can change or shift something. So
right. And healing it. Like for me, like my transformation has been a huge healing journey, and it continues. I mean, it never really ends. I think that as soon as you kind of heal one thing, and then it's like something else opens up, or it's like that lesson comes back around so that you can get a greater depth of healing into that experience. But for me personally, I mean, something like forensic healing is so amazing because like I really hate, like I've been to, you know, psychiatrists, I've been to counselors, I've been to all of those sort of traditional methods where you go to your GP and you go, well, like, you know, this is showing up, or I'm depressed or I'm anxious. And so you go down those paths. But for me, sometimes I think it can be more of a painful journey than anything, because I hate having to sit there and then it's like you've got to rip this old wound open, right? So you sit down with a psychiatrist and you've got to go over your story and go back over all these wounds and go back all this trauma. And it actually makes you relive the trauma, which is almost like it reinforces then those trauma patterns and the neural pathways that are created from trauma in our brains, because every time we relive it, we're reinforcing it and strengthening it, right? So for me, going and having to do that is like, oh no, I'd rather like, you know, like stab myself in the eye with a pen. But being able to come to someone like you where it's not actually reliving it, you're able to go in and actually go, right, it's almost like a science where it's like, okay, here we are and here's that root cause, and now let's pull it out and let's resolve it and let's fuck it off.
yeah.
You know
Well, yeah, that's right.
done. Healed. Let's get to the next bit, you know.
You make me laugh. Yeah. But it's true though. It's true. Like you said, instead of revisiting it, which can re-traumatize you, it's actually just identifying it, and then you can actually release it from your energy field. So you're free. And
no, keep going. I love it. Like, I love when you get in the flow and start talking about your work, just because it's so like, you know, it's, your work is amazing. Your work literally transforms women's lives. And being able to free women like that, like as a woman who's been trapped in so many different cycles and so many situations, to be free. I mean, for me, that's my end goal, right? Like my why is freedom. People talk about money and all of this stuff, but actually for me, it's like, I want money because I want freedom. I want to be able to be liberated and a sovereign woman and be able to make choices because I want freedom, right? Like I want choices.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you, gorgeous. Sovereignty and freedom, and yeah.
Right? So I guess for everyone listening, it's like, I think that if you're identifying with any of this, like I know Terry is like, she's such a huge campaigner for both myself and for Jacinta, and we absolutely love her work as well, and we're all talking the same language, right? But I think there are a lot of women out there particularly, and you know, Jacinta works with mainly women because that's where she feels like her work is most valuable. So as a woman, if you are identifying with being gaslit, and like if you want to dive into this more deeply, you can jump on Jacinta's page. We've got links on to her page in this live, so you can go on her page, you can have a look at those lives, and she talks about all of these topics in depth. I think if you identify with any of this, and if you are there feeling like, I just am so sick of myself, and I'm so sick of this situation, and I'm so sick of all of this stuff. The amazing thing is that you have someone like Jacinta in your corner who can actually really help you to transform that and get rid of it and heal it. And so you can be free to be the fully expressed woman that you were born to be, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful the way you say it. And I feel that it's like I've said in some of my writings before, but really the truth will set you free. It's getting to the truth, and yeah.
Yeah. And I just got chills when you said that, so
Yeah.
I get my truth from source. And it's like, as soon as you said that, it's just like, absolutely the truth sets you free, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, we don't know what the truth is, right?
No, that's right. Definitely. That's why you need to actually identify it first. And it can be it can be bitter. Like the truth can be bitter, and it can hurt, and it can cut deep. But ultimately on my journey, that's what I found myself. Like sometimes those truths can be really, hard to actually digest, but but ultimately they will set you free, because then it actually allows you to express your true soul's essence.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, right? Like, we're just not settling anymore for this kind of mediocre existence where it's like we get married, we have some kids, and then we just settle for this whole thing that we're told that we, that we should just be happy, or that we should just settle, or we settle for the shitty job because we get good money, or we settle for, the abusive boss because, we've worked so hard to get where we are, or we settle for the shitty partner because, well, he's got money, or he looks after me, or he's made me feel so bad about myself that I have no idea and no strength to leave, right? But I think the important thing is that we're just not doing that anymore as women. Like, just fuck that, right? It's that shit is done. Like, we need to, as a collective, not only rise and support each other, but actually have the power within ourselves and have that strength to say, this is enough and I'm not doing it. And I may not know the way, but there are people like you that know the way, and I'm going to seek out you to help me to resolve this so that I can shift it and I can start to do the work I'm supposed to do, right?
That just as I said throughout our conversation, I've had a lot of truth bumps, but it's so true. I really feel that it's like we're ending that cycle, the cycle that has come in, like those wounds have come in, but of persecution and suffering and sacrifice, and it's like now that's the end of that cycle.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yes, it is. It's the end. So, gorgeous women, even some men, if you're out there and this is just super resonating with you and you're just like, I don't care, I'm not a woman, but I need to work with Jacinta, then reach out to her. She's not going to discriminate against you just because you're a man. But definitely, like, we're talking to women here, and gorgeous woman, like, if you're going through this, if you're going through any pain or suffering and you're minimizing yourself and you are not your full, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing self, then you need to reach out to Jacinta and talk to her about her work, because it will literally transform your life. And that sort of stuff filters through to everything. So it's from your relationships to how you engage with your children, to how you do business, to how you operate on a day-to-day basis. This kind of work is deeply transformational. And I speak from the heart about this because I have been on a healing journey for most of my life, and it continues. And if I had not been brave enough to do the work, then I would not be where I am right now. So it's the same for Jacinta, So I think the biggest message here is, do not do it alone. Reach out if you're struggling, if you're suffering. You don't have to do that. This life is not about suffering. It's about experiencing joy, and it's about using this body that we have, which is this beautiful instrument to experience our spirit through, right? So I just get so inspired by your work, Jacinta, and I cannot tell people enough how much that if they need to do some radical shifts, they need to just come and just talk to you about it.
Thanks, gorgeous.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for just, existing and bringing your work into the world. And thank you for being brave enough to take that healing journey so that you could do your work,
Yeah. I feel like like we were saying before, it's like then on our journey, like whatever then we've gone through, then we can really inspire others on their journey.
Absolutely. And the most tragic thing is for a gifted woman to never fully realize her gifts because she's afraid or she's minimized or she's, she just doesn't have the courage to take that step and to work through it, because it can be painful, like when we do the work, it's not like you just go and it's like, and the angels sing and it's all great. It's like there is work that needs to be done, and up levels and shifts can be sometimes super full on,
Definitely. They can be intense. Yeah, it's part of the journey, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. I think everyone around this time, actually at Easter, I think that it's a very intense time energetically. And I think that there is definitely, I think a lot of people end up going through that death and rebirth and the transformation. Like for myself, like the full moon that happens around Easter is always such a kind of violent full moon emotionally. It's just like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything that like I just want to lie down and just rest, But then moving through that, there's this opportunity to sort of shed what no longer serves you and then shift into this new paradigm that we create for ourselves. So team, where am I up to? I've veered off the track again because I just get so caught up in my guests and get so inspired by their work. So you have your masterclass coming up, right? It's the 8th of April.
Yes, that's right. I do. Yes.
Okay. So we have links, I believe, in our in this live of how you can join in on that masterclass. You can register literally from now, and you will actually get to experience Jacinta and her work firsthand. She's going to take her everyone that's on that. Sorry, I'm just getting now messages from the team, so I'm getting distracted because they're like, okay, can you mention this? Can you say this? I'm getting there. So on on April 8th, she's going to take everyone that joins her on a beautiful journey, and you're going to experience her work firsthand and see Jacinta in full flight doing her thing. Then we also have a video that we're going to play, I think following this live, and that's your first promotional video, that we've worked on together. And I just want to also say, there's a little thing on the live now saying that if you want to join Jacinta Gabrielle on the Sacred Healing Initiation Masterclass on April 8th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, register here and save your place. So click on the link below and you will get your place in Jacinta's Masterclass. And then we're also going to play you a video which will also talk about more about Jacinta's work and also shows some of the work that we've done together, because we've just been on a huge branding and launch journey with you.
Oh, it's been amazing. Like I say, when we were working on the logo like a while ago, it's like out of this world. It's like it's hard to put into words, even though I love to write or to describe things. But
I love your logo, and I love I just want everyone to know that so Jacinta is like someone who's like my ideal client. So she's like divinely connected. You are this. How long have we been sort of connected and working together now? It's been such a beautiful journey. But Jacinta is definitely, I love working with women that are divinely connected, that are in the ether, and they need to then just ground their work in, because what I've built is this amazing team where we literally, like Jacinta's logo, her colors, the branding, all the wording, it was all up there in the ether. It's just that we bring it down and then we bring it into the physical and we kind of birth it into reality, right? But it's all there. And I think with every single person, your personal brand, your life's work, the words you need to promote it. It's all sitting there in the ether. You just need someone to help you bring it out of that imagination space and that creation space in the quantum realm and bring it down into reality, so that people can actually, because my mission is to promote people like Jacinta and to get more women out there doing the healing work, doing their promotional work, doing their area of genius, so that we can help each other to rise. And we all know this. That's my mission in life, is to help women to rise. I'm now coaching men as well. So that has come through. Those new codes have come through recently, just because of the whole divine feminine. And men sometimes need a little dose of that divine feminine, to start to imagine new things and new opportunities for themselves as well. So I think I want to really thank you for joining us. And is there anything else, team, that I'm missing here? Because I just get so carried away in just this energy. It's like I end up, it's almost like I get this conscious flow and I'm like, I'm downloading your stuff and just speaking it for you, you know?
And I just want to say too, when you're asking me about how it's been, it's so much more than just branding or launching, and like we're talking about releasing all the, you know, fear of being seen, which is amazing. So, but for me, it's very much been a soul reconnection journey, because like I was saying, you know, my soul was so fragmented that, like you were saying too, with all there were fragments here and all fragments, you know, all over the place, and then putting it all together to really embody my soul's essence, and also a self-love initiation. I'm so beyond grateful for the heartfelt support and the, just like Earth Angel.
I love you, and I just have just loved, you know, our journey will continue anyway, but I think it definitely is a journey when you start to really be seen and heard for the amazing work that you do. And for me, that's all I do. I mean, I just see it. I just look at you and I see all of the beauty and all of the amazing stuff that's there. And then it just starts to come through, you know, it's just like, okay. And so here's the color, and here's the brand, and here's the thing. And oh, wow. Like, I just love getting caught up in the beautiful energy of my clients and to experience what is created in that space, you know.
Yeah, it is magical. Yeah.
It is magic. You're right. Like, it's, I mean, you know, and I can say that because I just love it so much. And I love, you know, every step of the way that we go with you. And every time we put a post up or something, I'm just like, yes, this is so good. Yeah. Go to see, you know, like, it's just, you get really excited for you to be seen the way that you need to be seen, and for you to be heard, and for people to really understand how beautiful your work is for me, that's the kicker, right?
Yeah, I'm beyond blessed and so grateful.
Yeah, I feel the same. So okay, so now, have I missed anything? Does anyone have any questions? Is anyone on this live today, and does anyone have anything that they want to share or ask Jacinta while she's here? Team, have I said everything that I needed to say? I guess so. Well, I got the all good. We're all good. Okay, cool. So on that note, Jacinta, I just want to thank you so much. One, for having faith in me and my team, but also for being brave enough to do your work, and for transforming so many women's lives, and for helping this cause that we're all on to, you know, usher in this new age and get these new codes that are coming in out into the world. And I want to thank you for joining me on the conversation with Cinti. And yeah, everyone else, a reminder, jump on that masterclass. You will not be sorry. Jacinta's work is amazing, and you will almost definitely, I'm not going to guarantee it because it's not my place to guarantee Jacinta's work, but I'm definitely going to say you will almost definitely experience a transformation on some level in that masterclass. So Thank you so much for joining me, Jacinta, and everyone who's been on the live. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much, as usual, for just being always so supportive and our biggest cheerleader. And we just love your work as well. And on that note, we will finish. Stay tuned because we are going to. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, sending you so much love. Okay, so we're going to play Jacinta's video now, and you can learn more about her work and hear her beautiful voice. I think, what did our video production team call it? They said, you sounded like a Disney princess.
Oh, that's what you said. I remember you said that to me.
Yeah, but it was actually Nico, our video production director. He was like, she sounds like a Disney princess. I was like, she does sound like a Disney princess. So stay tuned and listen to Jacinta's Disney princess voice on her video. And if you are struggling to be seen and heard, definitely reach out to me. I mean, this is what I do. I love working with women and now men in launching their brands and their life's vision. So yeah, that's it. Let's say goodbye.
Love you, gorgeous. Yeah, and you're the true, I was just going to say, you're the true embodiment of the divine feminine.
Oh, thanks, Jacinta. I love being a woman. It's definitely a privilege to be in a woman's body, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Jacinta, my soul sister. We'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Are you stuck in a vicious cycle of overgiving that leaves you feeling exhausted and depleted? Do you sacrifice your happiness for the sake of everyone else? Are you doing things that you know are harmful to you and insult your soul? Are you staying in toxic relationships where you're being mistreated or disrespected? These are all examples of self-betrayal. When you betray yourself, you don't love and accept yourself for who you are. Society may have taught us that self-seeking is selfish and that martyrs are for the greater good. But here's the hard truth. It all comes down to you. Stand up for yourself and break the paralyzing pattern now. Are you ready to resurrect your power, passion, and freedom in your life?
I am Cinti, and I am a woman's woman.